Hello everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel. And today in Division 2 we are bringing you guys another build video. I try to do this every Saturday or Sunday if my build is working, and today it is working quite well. But before we get started, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe, and if you like the video, smash that like button. Now, I wasn't very happy when Massive took away my backpack, and I want it back, so we are getting it back. And I hope you guys are ready for a super spreader event, because we are going to make some magic work with the Scorpio today. Now, before we get into the actual build, I always like to go over the playstyle. Now, we're going to be playing this build very similar to how we play a Hunter's Fury build, using CC, cover, and being very precise with our movements. Always be watching our flanks, because unlike a Hunter's Fury build, we are going to be a little bit of squishy. Well, we will have a little armor regen and a little armor on kill, but we're not really relying on that to stay alive. We are relying on our CC, and we're going to be spreading a lot of CC around. Everything's going to be locked down, bleeding, poisoned, you name it. There is going to be every status effect on every enemy inside the room, and we need to make sure we are keeping that up. We are going to be very aggressive, so if you do not like an aggressive playstyle, this might not be for you, but we are definitely going to be in it, if you know what I mean. Now let's take a look at specializations. As for choices, there was really only one, and it's Gunner. Since we're going to be so squishy and constantly surrounded, that armor on kill is going to be huge. It's going to heal us with all the other mods and everything worked in, about 25% of our armor per kill, maybe a little less depending on what you are running. Also, we have great things like the reload speed, increased rate of fire when you get a kill. The med pack is good, and just handling all around. Now, as for weapons, it's just one, and we're going to be using the Scorpio 24/7, and it's got a quite amazing talent. It's called Septic Shot. Shooting a target applies a stack of venom, which lasts for 10 seconds. Increasing that stack adds more severe debuffs to the target. So at 1, you get poison, 3, disorient, 6, shock. It's like Chunga, what Chunga? And then at 7, target takes an additional 20% damage from all sources. That means from your status effects, from everything. Now, it does say duration of status effects is based on the percentage of pellets hit on applying shot. But that's it. Status effects does a lot of things. It will increase the damage of your dots, and it will also increase the tick rate. What do I mean tick rate? Like how fast that dot is hitting, or how fast that status effect. So let's say I do 20 damage on a dot. If it's just going to do 1 second, the more status effects, the faster that dot is going to hit, and the more damage we are going to do. Now, as a secondary, I do have the Tsunami. I just like to have that as a backup if I'm down on a reload and I need to pull out a gun really quick to get that armor on kill. But usually I never switch out. I never really need it, because everything is going to be CC'd and locked down in the room. Now, as for gear, we are going to be using the exotic mask, the Vial, and it's got a quite insane talent. If you didn't know, every time you apply a status effect, it also applies a status effect or a debuff for 10 seconds, and the damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade. Now, this is going to tick very hard, and the fact that we're going to be spreading around all our dots and all our status effects, that it is going to hit everyone, and everyone is going to be dropping. Everyone is going to be CC'd, and you're not really going to have to do anything but keep shooting your Scorpio. Now, for our gear set, we are going to be using the Eclipse Protocol 4-piece. It's got some nice things. We got the Hasbro just to kind of help us stay alive a little bit, but really we're looking for those status effects and this set bonus. Indirect transmission. Your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters and refresh 50% of the duration. Now, we're also going to be using the chest, so it's actually going to be 15 meters, and the duration is going to be increased to 75%. This is really just going to be for our Vial debuff, because we can't change the status duration on the other dots. Now, when we go down to this, if you guys remember from last season, amplifies all damage you deal to status effect targets by 30%. So our Scorpio is always going to be doing that extra amplified 30% damage no matter what. You can't take this away from me, Massive. Now, we're also going to want the chest piece, just because we get the indirect transmission. Like I said, it's going to increase that 10 meters to 15 meters, and it's going to increase the percentage from 50 to 75%. That's nice for the Vial status effect. But other than that, we just kind of want to make sure when we kill somebody and spread all those status effects, that they are hitting everybody inside the room. Now, when it comes to the last piece, you have a choice. You can either run the firm handshakes, which is the Sokolov named item. It is one of my favorites. I got lucky. I ended up getting a god roll, but we really just want it for that status effects. It's always going to roll 15% status effects, and that's going to be 5% more than we would say a Golan. But if you want to go and let's say you have a Golan, but you would have to re-roll it to a red weapon damage tier because it comes with an armor core. So it's just easier to go out and farm the firm handshake out in the open world. Just go to any place where this Sokolov is targeted loot and you will get it pretty quick. Now, when it comes to attributes and stats, just make sure your Eclipse protocol are all re-rolled to weapon damage, and you're going to want status effects on that. As you can see, my rolls weren't that good. I just went and farmed this out last night. Took me a couple hours just to find things with status effects. I had to craft a couple pieces. Ideally, I want to get it up to that 10%, but I might just have to optimize it if this build stands the test of time. Now, when it comes to skills, since we're going to be pretty squishy, I just decided to go with extra CC. I love running Banshee Pulse and the Blinder Firefly. It adds that extra CC, and there'll be times where we just don't have everything CC'd and we are in trouble and we're going to need to pop that Banshee Pulse, or we're just going to open with a Binder Firefly. Let's say we need to close a gap and get close to everything so we can start annihilating things. We're going to want to pop that so we can get in and push inside really quick. Now, they're very helpful and probably one of the best. Other skills, like any of the damaging skills, they really don't do much at one skill tier, and it's kind of a waste. Same thing with healing and Revive Hive. We're not planning on dying. Now, when it comes to mods on our gear, we're just going to be running armor on kill. You could also do damage from elites, but I like having that little bit of extra armor on kill because the elites are going to be locked down most of the time. We shouldn't be taking that much damage unless we're just not making smart plays. Now, when it comes to skill mods, you're just going to want anything, let's say, that increases the max target on your Blinder Firefly, and anything that really is just going to increase the duration of your CC. Now, when it comes to the Banshee Pulse, just use the ones you get with the Gunner Specialization. It's going to increase the duration as well as increase the range that it hits the targets. And it's nice because sometimes that extra range really does help, because sometimes there are just those outlier NPCs just sticking right at the end, and sometimes it doesn't hit, and that might be the NPC that gets you killed. Now, when it comes to stats, like I said, just reroll everything to weapon damage and make sure you have status effects on all your gear pieces, and you are going to be good to go. Now, although this build is very strong and able to keep almost the whole room CC'd, you are still very vulnerable when they come out of CC, and you can get in trouble very quick. One wrong move, or you're just not thinking or not paying attention to your flank, and you can be dead pretty quick. So you just have to be very vigilant. It is a risk versus reward playstyle, just like the Hunter's Fury. Since we're not going to be using any armor cores, you just have to be careful, but it is quite a lot of fun and does quite a bit of damage and locks down everything. Like, I don't really see too much of a downside other than just you have to be very careful with your movement and just pay attention at all times, because when you get into a fight with Chunga, you're able to keep that Chunga locked down at all times and usually just solo it by yourself. Even in a heroic 4-man group, it is quite insane, and I am just in love with this build and I am having a blast. So I hope you guys go ahead and try it. It's pretty easy to build. You can just go and farm those Eclipse protocol pieces very easy. You just need to get it to roll with status effects and then just re-roll it to weapon damage and just have a blast. Now, that's all I have for this build video today, but if you are looking for any other builds or tutorials, Division 2 news, anything for old players, new, and everything in between, go ahead and check out my channel, and thanks again for watching, guys.